In this video I'll show you step by step the new options in the September 2020 update for expanded quiz and question tracking in Storyline 360. Hi, I'm Spermon from Upward Online Learning, where I teach you how you can create e-learning modules yourself with Articulate Storyline. And are you new here? Then don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the bell notification icon so you won't miss any of my upcoming videos. Are you ready? Then let's get started. Before we look into the new quiz tracking features in Storyline 360, let's look into the structure of my sample project. Now, what you can see is that the course begins with an introduction slide. Next there's pretest. When the user has done the pretest, there's a menu, and under the menu there are 3 chapters, and at the end of the course there is an assessment. So the first new functionality that Storyline 360 gives you is the option to track multiple quizzes in your course. Now what Storyline does is it will send the quiz data for the first quiz a student completes to the learning management system. And in practice it means that the quiz results slide that executes the first submit trigger, results trigger is the one that gets tracked and scored in the LMS. Now how could you use this in your next e-learning project? So how can you use this new functionality in your next e-learning project? Now what you can do is to create a branching course with specific paths for instance, multiple business lines with a specific quiz for each business line. Or what you also can do is you can create a pretest in your e-learning course. And with the new functionality, you can set the pretest to a precheck, and we'll come to that later in this episode. And only if a user passes the precheck in Articulate Storyline, Storyline will send the passing information to the LMS. So this means if a user knows enough about the subject, he passes the pretest, the course will be completed in your LMS and he doesn't have to do the whole course. Now let's look how we can set up these 2 examples in Articulate Storyline. So the first step is to go to a result slide. Now I already have 2 result slides in my course, but if you don't have a result slide, what you can do is go to slides, and here you can edit your result slides. Now let's click on my pretest. So I go to my story view, and here I select my pretest, and I'll go to design. Now what you see here is that Articulate has changed the look and feel a little bit. So you have now under tracking the option to choose what you want to track or how you want to set your result slide. And there are 3 different types. The first one is a precheck, and this will only send the quiz data to an LMS when a user passes a quiz. You also have a knowledge check. If you set your result slide to knowledge check, it won't send data to a quiz, but you can use it so a user can see its score, and it has nothing to do with the score of the course. So it's for information and seeing if he understands the complete topic. And last type is a final assessment, and this will send a data to an LMS when a user passes or fails a quiz. So this is the old result slide as we know it. Next to labeling your quiz result slide, pre-check, final assessment or knowledge check, you have also a couple of different other options to complete your course, new functionalities. So let's go to LMS tracking here, and the reporting and tracking options window will open. Now these options will be familiar to you, but the big difference is that you don't have to choose between the different options, but you can check all options. Now I don't have a trigger set in this course, so this is grayed out. But what it will do in Articulate, what Articulate Storyline will do is it will check the first selected option that the user completes, will send the completion status to the LMS. So for instance, if I have here 10 pages or 10% of all slides, if a user has first viewed 10% of all slides in my course before he completes an assessment, this will send the completion status to the LMS. Now, in earlier versions of Articulate Storyline, you could only choose of pages. So, for instance, here that you say I want that the user has viewed 4 slides of all, but now you can also set a percentage. And here you see the new options for the result slide. So you see my pre-check here, the assessment. Now I can choose, I can change the label, I can delete some, or you can click the lightning bolt and disable this submit trigger, for instance, for testing purposes. Now you see here that course trigger is grayed out in this module because I don't have a completion course trigger set. So if there is a completion course trigger in this module, you will be able to click this also. So in the last new functionality I want to show you about quiz and question tracking is to score only viewed questions in assessment or a pretest. So let's go to my assessment so I can explain what I mean. So here in this assessment you see that I've created branching. So on question 3.1, if I go to form view, you see here that I've created a branching for correct. If I click on more, you'll see it will branch to question 3.2. If I click on incorrect, it will branch to question 3.3. And after that, it will go to 3.4 and to the assessment. Now, in earlier versions of Articulate Storyline, a question that a user didn't answer was calculated wrong for the assessment. And now you can choose, if I go to my assessment here, the result slide, and I go to design, and I go to quiz settings, I can say here that I only want to score a viewed questions. So, and what this means is that the question that the user doesn't see because he branches through the other branch won't be calculated in the course. Now, and what you have to take care of is that there is a difference between unviewed questions, so what you see here, and unanswered questions. So unviewed questions and unanswered questions are treated differently by Articulate Storyline. So when you score only the questions a learner views, they won't be penalized for the questions they don't see. However, if a learner visits questions and they skip the questions without answering, those questions will be counted wrong for the quiz score. So that is something you have to take care of. So I hope the explanation about the new features on quiz and question tracking in Storyline 360 give you enough inspiration to set up new quizzes in your next Articulate Storyline project.
Do you have any questions about embedding your Articulate Storyline course in WordPress or about Articulate Storyline in Common? Then place a comment below these videos and I promise to answer it. And if you want to create great engaging e-learning in Articulate Storyline, make sure that you get my free step-by-step guide on how I create e-learning in Articulate Storyline. And I know for sure that it will help you because it describes my whole process that I use for every e-learning module in Articulate Storyline that I built. And was this video useful to you? Then hit the like button below. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the bell notification icon so you won't miss any of my upcoming videos.